everyone, it's Georgia and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be doing a really exciting video. I'm going to be doing a tanning Q&A. So I've done regular Q&As before and I've done a tanning routine, so I thought I would combine them and answer a few of your questions. So I asked you guys at the bottom of my tanning routine video if you guys could leave me any questions that you had. I also asked you guys on Snapchat and Twitter and also on Tumblr. I always get a ton of questions from you guys every time I mention tanning or something like that, so I thought that this video was really appropriate for my channel. I have just a few questions here that I'm going to be answering today, but if you guys do want me to, I can do another one if you guys are interested. I've covered a lot about tanning on my channel so far, so I hope this is a sufficient amount for you guys. Some of your questions may have been answered in my tanning routine, so go and check that video out if you are at all interested and see if it is answered in there. Otherwise, hopefully it is answered in this Q&A. So let's just jump in and get started. The first question is how I avoid getting tan hands. This is one of those things that is commonly associated with tanning, and it is tan hands. And before I even looked into tanning for myself, I always figured that you would just put the tan on your hand and brush it into your skin, and that's just what I figured you did. I thought that's how it was done, and that's why people had tan hands. But it can definitely be avoided, or at least reduced, with a few different tips and tricks, I guess. Although sometimes I still get slightly darker hands, and it just sort of depends how you do it. If I do it really rushed, my hands will be slightly darker, but if I just chill out and do it properly, it generally will go a-okay after I've followed a few simple steps. Mainly what I do to reduce the tan hand look is I get the residue that's already left on the tanning mitt after I've done my arm, say. I'll make sure all of the tan has all gone into my arm and whatever, and I've buffed it in with the brush, and then I'll go back with the tanning mitt, and so there's only a little bit of product on there, and then I will go over and do my hands and get right in between my knuckles and all over my hand. And that's just what I do so that I'm not putting a full pump or anything like that, or a high amount of tanning product onto my hands. If you do that, do expect to get tan hands, because they will be very dark once your tan has developed. I also recommend blending the tan on your hands out thoroughly with the brush. In my tanning routine I showed you guys that I actually use a buffing brush to buff in all of my tan all over my body, so I definitely recommend spending a bit more time on your hands if you are paranoid about getting tan hands or whatever. Just really making sure that you spend the time to thoroughly blend out all the tan that's left on your hands, and hopefully that will do the trick. Otherwise, if that's not working for you, maybe you could consider putting a glove on underneath the tanning mitt. So you put the glove on your hand, a rubber glove or something, and then you put the tanning mitt over the top, and then the tanning product won't actually get on your hands. That might be a bit difficult and a bit tricky. I'm not really sure. I've never tried that one out before, but that's the only thing that I can think of if those other steps didn't work for you. Next question is how to prolong the wear of your tan. And this is probably one of the biggest questions when people are considering tanning, because you don't want to put in all of that effort, because let me tell you, tanning is hard work. And you don't want to put in all of that effort and then have your tan last for a day or something like that. You want to make it last for as long as possible. Generally, my tan will last for a bit over a week. The longest I've had one tan on was 2 weeks, and I looked after that tan so well. It was ridiculous, but I did take really good care of it. Other times my tan has come off within a couple of days if I don't look after it at all, 4 days or something. But the better you look after it, the longer that it will last. My first and biggest tip is moisturize regularly. The more moisture your skin has, the longer your tan will last. So if your skin starts getting flaky or anything like that, your tan is going to want to stick to those areas and generally will come off the rest. So I moisturize 3 times a day when I'm tanned, and this just makes sure that my skin is always being moisturized, and that is literally what your tan wants. Your tan wants moisture, so give it as much as you can and hopefully it'll all work out for you. Sorry guys, I just had to change my camera and my memory card because the other one pooped itself and I don't really have enough time to keep filming once that's fully charged and everything, so I just decided to get my other camera. Another tip that I have is do not rub in the shower. The more that you rub when your tan is wet, the more easily that your tan will come off. So if you go swimming in the ocean or something like that, don't touch your tan, like don't rub anything, like it just won't work well for your tan. And when you're in the shower, don't rub the water over you or anything like that. Just leave it as it is and try not to disturb it, and that generally works for me. Then just in general, be careful when you have a tan on. If you want to get the absolute most out of your tan, just be super duper careful and moisturize regularly and you should be all good. The next question I have is how to get a light tan, and I've gotten this question from a bunch of people who have never tried tanning or anything like that before. So I just want to begin by saying, like, you can get a light tan. A lot of people do choose to get like a really dark tan, but that doesn't mean that there's not other options for getting a lighter tan. Bondi Sands actually has another tanning foam in light, and that one might be perfect for you guys. It's the one in the white bottle. I get the one in the black bottle, and the black bottle is the dark one. If you still want to get the dark one and you still want a fairly dark tan, but you just don't want it as dark as some people have it when they use that tan, basically the less that you apply, the lighter it will be. So the thinner the fake tan layer on your skin will be. Maybe that's just using one pump all over the parts of your body, or it might just mean that you blend it out a lot more, or anything like that, or just in general apply one layer to the skin and that's it. I generally apply 2 layers, so I'll put some on, wait 30 minutes and then go and apply another layer. But the tanning foam in a light, I've never tried that one, but that's definitely an option. It's a lighter formula than the dark one, so that might be more suited to you. Another thing that you can do for your tan to be a little bit lighter is to not let it develop for as long. I let my tan develop for approximately 12 to 14 hours. I sleep with it overnight and that's how I let it develop because I like it fairly dark. But the less that you leave it on for to develop, the lighter your tan will be. So if you only leave it on for an hour, it may not be worth it, but if that's what you're wanting to do, then after an hour go in the shower and wash it off. Maybe it might be 2 hours for you, or 3 or 4 or whatever it is, and then go and wash the top layer off in the shower, and that might be something that's more suited to you rather than sleeping with it overnight or something like that. My next question is, how long does the Bondi Sands tan last for? So I sort of answered this earlier, but the longest I've had it on was for 2 weeks and I looked after it like crazy. I moisturized like 4 times a day and I just took really good care of it. Generally, if I don't take too good of care of it, it can last for like 4 days or 3, something like that, before it starts to fade. But generally, on most occasions, my tan lasts like just over a week, so maybe 10 days or 9 days or something like that. I definitely wouldn't leave my tan on for longer than 2 weeks though, so I definitely say 2 weeks would be the absolute maximum. Next question is, how do you tan your face? And oh my god, this was my most asked question when I asked you guys what you guys wanted to know, and I was so amazed. I didn't even think of this to answer it. First thing that I do know is Bondi Sands actually has a gradual face tanner. I've never tried it. I've wanted to get my hands on it for a little while just to see what it's like, but I'd recommend that if you were thinking on tanning your face or something. That might be something to ask about. This is probably not the best way, but this is just what I do because I'm super duper lazy. I just put a small amount on to my tanning mitt, a really small amount, and then I just wipe it all over my face. I avoid the eye area for the meantime, but just go around like my forehead and my cheeks with a separate tanning mitt to the one that I use all over my body, because that's a little bit gross. And I don't know, I think your face and then your body should be a little bit separate. Then what I do is buff out the tan on my face so well with that buffing brush that I've talked about a few times in this video. And that's just how I do it. I'm really lazy, so that's just what I've decided to do. But generally I don't even tan my face, just because I'm normally wearing makeup and then you have to wash your face after and it just comes off anyway. The only time I tan my face is when I'm like at the beach or something and I'm not planning on wearing makeup or anything like that. And the last question I have is how to avoid a blotchy tan. Another really common question, and my number one tip is just to use a buffing brush. It removes all of the blotchy patches on your tan and it just makes it look really seamless and natural. That is my number one secret when it comes to tanning, is buff, buff, buff. And if you do that, I promise you, when you do it, you will like start blending it out and you'll be like, oh my god. That's what I did the first time I tried it. I was like buffing it out onto my skin and I was like, this looks so natural, like compared to just putting it on with a mitt and then buffing it. I was like, whoa, there's such a difference. So that's definitely my number one tip to avoid a blotchy tan. That's all for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know down below if you have any other questions that you'd like me to answer, because I will happily get back to you. But that's it from me. I'll see you guys all in my next video. Bye! All we need is somebody to lean on.